Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 9 of the Son of a podcast. I will be your host today, like usual. I am Gabe, and I am joined by my father.
I am your father.
Yeah, there we go. And today's episode is a kind of related to last week's episode. It's gaming. We briefly mentioned it last week, I believe, when we were talking about your early experiences with technology.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there anything you want to say before we start this off?
Nothing. I promise to let you speak this time.
You promised to let me speak. Well, I'm fine. I mean, I'm the host, so I'm the one asking the questions. So it's normal that you speak the most. So I don't
I
know
have quite a few things to ask you this time.
Sounds great.
So let's get going. Let's get started.
I want to start off with, I know we briefly mentioned this last time, and you probably, I know you already said this answer, but just for people, if anyone hasn't seen last week's episode, what was the first video game that you played in your life?
I can't really remember, but I think it was Pong.
Pong, okay.
Yeah.
And
I seem
this?
to remember. Well, this was remember in a few episodes back when I mentioned when I discovered Kiss for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that same friend Brian, he happened to have an Atari console, one of the first ones that came out.
Really?
One of these brand wooden things, and we didn't play it that much, but when we did, I really truly believe it was Pong. Also around that time, we also had some friends in school in the American School of Madrid. They had the little tiny consoles. I don't know if they were Game Boys or what. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. And they had games on them, like sports games, football, American football, baseball. I'm not, and I suppose you could call them little console games. They were little handheld. They had little tiny dots that sort of like moved around the screen according to your little joystick. It was I wouldn't even dare call it animated because they were just little dots that blipped off, then blipped on, and another different part of the screen, and made little weird noises. I can vaguely remember them. I never played them because I never knew how to play football or baseball at that time. I didn't know. That's the first I remember.
Okay. So it's quite a while ago. This must have been what, late 80s?
This must have. No. This was in Madrid, so it must have been late 70s or early 80s. Exactly. We came down from Madrid in 1982, the year of the first democratic elections in Spain. So it was before then.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So quite a while ago. That's what, 40 years ago, basically 50 years ago.
Exactly. I didn't play very much though. They weren't my consoles, they were my friends, so I only played when I happened to go to their house and we happened to play. Normally we were outside in the garden playing and throwing rocks and things like that.
And do you know what people's thoughts not people's, but adults' thoughts on video games were at that time? Did they think they were bad, or did they think they were
I can't remember. I don't really think they were bad. Not many people had them at that time. Mm-hmm. There were things like Pong and things like that. I think later on, once you got into the Space Invaders and the shooters, that's when parents started getting a little bit more concerned about the violence and all that.
And the Doom
stuff. Yeah, but that was much later on. That was like 20 years after that, in the early 90s and maybe late 80s. But it wasn't. I can't remember it being a deal. But again, I never had any video consoles in my house, so I couldn't really let you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, just for people who don't know us, because obviously there's people that do know us and obviously know that especially me, but my dad are also quite big gamers. You not so much anymore, because you just don't really have time anymore. But especially before you were, and you've gone recently through from some phase. I remember about a year ago when you were playing Minecraft quite regularly instead of playing your guitar, for example, which was quite amusing. Well, maybe it was a couple of years ago because it was when I was still in Spain, wasn't it?
No, it was relatively recently, like maybe a year ago or something.
Oh, okay, so I was right.
Yeah, I love Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft's great.
But I take off the survival mode. I'm a cheater. I play in friendly mode. I just don't like getting attacked by the creepers. I get really irritated. I'm doing my own thing and suddenly I blow up.
Well, it's fair enough, I mean, I guess. And what would you say is your favorite game of all time? Your favorite video game?
Ooh, my favorite video game of all time. If I had to choose, and I could only choose one, I think I would choose Ghost Recon.
Okay, which one?
And the last one was very good.
The Breakpoints?
Breakpoint, yeah. I really like that one. People didn't, but I did.
Fair enough.
I really liked it, yeah.
Well, we used to play Ghost Recon Wildlands together, didn't we, when it came out?
Yeah, we did. That's right, yeah. And I used to play with Fred quite a bit. We got pretty hooked on the
multiplayer.
The online side of the multiplayer there. Well, not just the multiplayer, but the scrimmages that you could have outside the game. You could have little, you had maps and you had teams and things like that, similar to your Valorant and that. And we got pretty hooked on that. We used to spend hours and hours and hours playing that. I was never any good, I have to admit it.
But, it's fine. You don't have to be good to enjoy it.
Yeah, my approach to gaming has always been the same as my approach to music. I never had the discipline to spend hours and hours and hours learning a particular technique to be able to master it so well that nobody, I just like shooting and running around, and eventually the good people come along and beat my ass.
What game do you think, when it came out, you're like, wow, this is crazy, like we really stepped up to another level? Is there a game that you can specifically remember?
Well, I remember the mode, which was the open world. That for me was groundbreaking. So I remember the first Ghost Recon that came out. I can't remember the name, what the very first one was. And that was great because the AI of the characters of your little enemies was great. But nothing compared to the first time I saw an open world game, a proper open world. I can't remember which one it was. I don't know if it was GTA or Ghost Recon or...
Might have been Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. I think it was Assassin's Creed. And that really blew my mind. The fact that you could roam a world without having to stick to a certain scenario and a certain path.
Yeah.
And you could just do your own thing, especially that. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I can remember a single game where I've been like, wow, this is like another level. You know what I mean?
What's the first game you remember playing?
The first game I remember playing, I think, because I know I played Call of Duties when I was younger, but I don't really have a memory of playing those. So I think the earliest one was one of the early Ghost Recons, when you and Fred would play at Jess's house. Well, Fred and Jess's house. And I would play with you guys as well. Well, that's definitely one of the earliest, at least.
Yeah.
Also, I also remember me and you playing Minecraft in our own server that we had together every morning before going to school.
That's true. I still have that server,
Really? You still have it?
Yeah.
When I go back, we have to look at that, because I want to see, because I don't really remember what I was doing. I remember you were building this huge tower that you really wanted to do, that you really liked. But I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was just roaming around and doing whatever. But anyways, so I don't know which one came first, if the Minecraft or the Ghost Recon. I think they were more or less around the same time, right? Pretty
much, and Call of Duty as well.
Yeah, I was playing Call of Duty, but I don't remember that. That's why I say I don't.
Right. You don't remember Call of Duty, yeah?
I know I don't remember it.
Well, a little anecdote for you. I'm surprised you didn't remember, but Call of Duty is the one and only time that Mommy and I have banned you from playing any kind of game.
The thing is, I know this. I don't remember, but I know this happened because you've told me about it before.
Yeah. I remember you. I walked into the sitting room one day because you were pretty hooked on it, but you didn't play too much. You just played just like any other normal kid after doing your homework before dinner, that kind of thing. But I remember distinctly walking into the sitting room one day and you were crying your eyes out. And I said, Gaby, what's wrong? I got really worried. and you just finished watching the what are they called, the video scenes in between
Yeah, the cutscenes.
gameplay. You were just finished watching a cutscene in which one of your teammates had betrayed you, and you were devastated by it, and you were just so into it that it just broke your heart. At that very moment, I said, Gabe, you're not playing anymore for at least a month. It's a little bit too much. That's but you were okay. The next day you didn't even remember that you had to play. You just did other stuff.
Also, just for people, this is when I'm pretty sure this is the moment in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 when General Shepard kills Ghost. From what you tell me, I'm pretty sure, and around the same time, I'm pretty sure that's the moment.
I think so, yeah. Were they in an airplane or something?
Yeah, they're like going into an airplane.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, because I remember that when I was playing that game.
Yeah. And quite a heartbreaking moment, to be fair.
Yeah, but maybe a little bit too intense for a 9-year-old that you were at that time.
Yeah, maybe, but you know. Yeah, that's the only game you've banned me from, which I mean, I have to say is quite, I'm not gonna say it's not surprising because of the way that you guys raised me, but maybe I feel like if you were other parents, maybe I would have been banned from other games, because I mean I've spent hours and hours of my time playing video games, especially when Fortnite came out. I was playing hours and hours. Yeah, of course that was a few years later, but you know that
was when you were a proper teenager and you had your own life, so to speak.
Yeah.
When you were younger, you used to play quite a bit, but always under controlled circumstances. I mean, after you'd done your bit, after you'd gone to the park and played with your friends and done your homework and all that, then you're always allowed to play.
I mean, especially like from that time, my memories aren't of playing video games. My memories are of going to the park with my friends after the school to Parque de la Batería or Parque de la Paloma or Parque de la Sombra as well. And just going with all my friends or my classmates. So
yeah, what's funny is that while you were in the park playing with your friends, you guys were all playing video games. Either that or pretend to be Luke Skywalker and soldiers or Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you remember, every morning we walked up to school, which was maybe a 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
And during all that way, you were lost in your world of video games and Star Wars. You'd be fighting the baddies that were hidden behind the bushes, and you know, doing these little sounds with your with your mouth, and you get really angry if we interrupted you.
I was in my zone, man. What can I say? No, but I remember those times when I had a very vivid imagination, and it was
just like me.
It was fun times. What can I say? Fun times.
Yeah.
Anyways, and going back to the like, especially kind of like the Fortnite times, what was your reaction to, or your guys' reactions to the amount of time that I was spending playing video games?
Well, you always played as much as we let you, so it wasn't, you know, our reaction was normal. We didn't really. I mean, you spent a lot of time, but you weren't one of these kids that spent literally 16 hours a day playing until your thumbs were. I think you're thinking more in the last 2-3 years where you've been more of your own self and you've been more in control of your life. Before that, when you were 13, 14, you played what you had to play. You know, you played, like, say, weekends. Yeah, you'd wake up, you'd play, then you'd have lunch, you'd play maybe 3-4 hours a day, you know, on and off. And then sometimes in the evening you'd ask us if you could play a little longer, and we always said yes, there's no problem. I mean, bear in mind that was all that time was COVID and post-COVID, and I very quickly realized that your mom and I very, very quickly realized that this was the new social was exactly that. During COVID, I can say that it was gaming that saved your social life. It was through gaming that you kept close contact with your friends, and I saw nothing wrong with that. Your behavior didn't change. You didn't get violent. You didn't start killing cats out in the street or anything like that. But what you did get out of it is that you kept in touch with your friends. After COVID, that trend continued. When you were in school, you were with your friends. When you were outside school, you were gaming with your friends. I never saw it as gaming, really. I always saw it as you socializing with your peers. And because you also saw them in person, it never really bothered me.
Yeah.
You know, at school and outside school with your activities, you were doing sports, you were socializing. And when you were in school and when you were at home, would I have liked it if you prefer reading? Probably. You know, reading is great. Reading, you know, enhances your vocabulary and makes you think differently. But this is the 2020s. It's not, you know, 1968.
Yeah.
Right? You have other ways of entertaining yourself, and I think it's perfectly valid.
Okay, fair enough.
So we never got worried. Sometimes with that, I mean, you know, if we saw that you were overdoing it, we'd be the ones to tell you, like, listen, Gabe, you're getting square eyes. Come on and, you know, let's go out for a bit, or come shopping with us or whatever, right? And you always did it. You know, you always did it willingly, no problem.
Yeah. Well, I would say I would do it reluctantly, but
yeah,
but I would do it.
He never put up a fight yet.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm just remembering the times, you know, when COVID and when Fortnite came in.
Yeah, Fortnite was like the COVID saver. And to be honest, as a parent, I'd much rather have you play Fortnite while you're talking with your friends than have you scrolling, you know, doom scrolling on TikTok without talking to anybody. You know, if I have to choose, I'd much rather choose Fortnite and your friends, or FIFA or whatever. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
Yeah, let's go, because we're talking as, you know, clearly I know what I'm talking about because I see you game. I've game, but there's a lot of people, especially a lot of parents my age, for whom the world of gaming is a dark, sinister world. And a lot of that, I suspect, is out of lack of knowledge, because they might not communicate with their children, or they're not interested, which is perfectly valid, and so they really don't know what this world of gaming is. So I'd like you to give us a quick imagine I'm a newcomer to this world, right? And you just mentioned something called Fortnite. What is Fortnite? What is the concept of modern gaming as opposed to Pong and Pac-Man?
Okay. So, in modern gaming, there's two sides of the gaming. There's the story mode side and the online side. Let's just go into the story mode. The story mode is kind of basically like it's a movie. You're watching a movie basically, but it's like an interactive movie. In some scenarios, you choose where to go, what parts of the story you want to do first, then you go through the others, and it's very much you're playing by yourself and you're just following the story of the game. It's like reading a book or watching a movie. Obviously it's more involved, and you are literally doing what the story says.
And the missions and all that, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. For prime examples are The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima as well. Then there's obviously the Call of Duty campaigns, the Battlefield campaigns, you know, and they span through completely huge genres.
And all these games are generally open world, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is, for example, open world, but The Last of Us is linear. Call of Duty is linear, as you know, which is one of the things you hated about it.
Yeah, I didn't like that. You always saw the same people coming from the same place, and you were ready to shoot them.
Yeah. So basically, also for the people that don't know, open world is when you have a map and you can go wherever you want on the map. You're not limited to going down a specific route. Whereas linear games, I guess, or non-open world games, are you have to follow where the game tells you to go. So, I almost knocked over my water bottle there. So, for example, in Call of Duty, it says, go to this point, kill these guys, get the information and come back, you know? And you follow and you do exactly what it says. Whereas in open world games, you can do whatever you want, literally, obviously within the game's design. But you can go wherever you want, you can do it in whichever order you want, and it gives you a lot more freedom. but also those games tend to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side,
and you
which
can,
is the...
and you can, in open world games, even if you're following the story and the mission or whatever it is that you're doing, you don't have to stick to it. You can start the mission and then veer around, go roam the world, go explore, and then come back and continue that mission. Right?
Yeah.
You're
not always,
limited.
but yeah, sometimes, right. Yeah.
At least the games I like.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Exactly.
Great.
And then there's the online games, which is, these are the games where you're playing with other people, you're playing against other people. And these are kind of like, obviously it's not the same, but think of it as sports, right? Where
right.
you're playing the same thing over and over again. You go into a game and you have like in football, every match is the same basic concept of, you have 90 minutes and you have to score goals, and whichever team scores the most goals wins. Well, this is the same thing. It's, you go into the game, whichever team gets the most kills, or depending on whatever game it is, wins.
And these are games within the same game. So you might have a game like Ghost Recon, for instance, which has its story mode, and then it has the online version of the game within the game. So you're not actually following the story. You just go to another part of the game, and you're playing online with other people.
Exactly. Yeah. This isn't always happens. There's some games which are just online, which is
right.
Like Fortnite. Well, Fortnite now, because before Fortnite had its own story mode, but that doesn't matter. And the game that I play the most, which is Valorant. Valorant is also only online. And this is where the memes come from, and the jokes come from, of where your mom says, just pause the game and come for dinner, and you're like, I can't pause the game because it's not,
you're playing online with your friends.
Like the game, physically can't pause because I'm playing online with other people.
Yeah,
it's
I think this is what throws a lot of parents off. Mm-hmm. The fact that an online game, you're playing live, right there in the world with your friends, and there's no pausing it. It's exactly. If you pause it, you die. You can't pause it.
Well, right. It's like, well, maybe not so much now, because now you can pause this stuff, but it's like before with the TV. If you're watching a football match, you like, and your mom says, could you just pause it? You're like, no, it's like, I can't pause it to the TV. I can't pause the TV. Like, you know
exactly.
What I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's exactly the same concept.
I think it's very important that we break this down for people my age, because you're so used to it, and for you it's just a way of life. But for a lot of us, a lot of parents, the reason they're so against it is because of a lack of understanding. Leaving aside whether they're violent or that's conducive to more violence or whatever. That's another story. But this is why people spend so many hours playing games, because they're live. It's a battle that you're doing. It's and it takes time, right?
Each match takes quite a while, depending on, of course, how well you do. But for example, in Valorant, some matches could take 40 minutes. So
let's break it down further. There's concepts that people might not be familiar with, which is we're talking about online gaming. But then there's this massive online multiplayer games. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between just playing online and these massive online? What's that? What's the concept of that?
I mean, it's quite simply in the name. Cause the thing is, now it's kind of complicated, because before it was kind of a lot like you just say, well, one has a lot of people and the other one has a few people. That's basically the breakdown of it. Obviously now there's games like Fortnite where in one match there's 100 people, more or less, and you're like, right, so that's a lot of people. So
how's that? How can that be? I mean, because you're, again, let's go back to basics, because you're saying 100 people, no big deal. But for a lot of people, it's a huge deal. It's unimaginable that 100 people could be playing one game. Yeah. So I have my computer, my little tiny computer, and I have my game installed in my computer.
Yeah.
right? How can there be 100 people playing in my computer?
Well, they're not playing in your computer. They're
Right. So explain that. Why not? How?
okay. So basically, so you go into a game, and you connect to a server somewhere else, where everyone else connects to that same server. That's in your
Right.
game.
So then the game isn't really in your computer. The game is on a server somewhere, and it's being projected into your computer.
Yeah, kind of. Sure, that's quite basic, but yeah. Let's run with that. Basically.
No, it's the easiest way to explain it. You have the heavy graphics are resident in your computer, so that your computer takes the brunt of it.
Yeah.
So the bandwidth, so that your internet doesn't have to feed humongous amounts of data into your computer, but everything else is resident in another computer somewhere else, or a few computers, or a bank of computers that are connected together somewhere else. And
Exactly.
and that's where everything else, that's where the action happens, right? And that's why you're allowed to play against 100 people.
Exactly.
And that's what the attraction of Fortnite was, right, when it came out.
It wasn't the first battle royale, because there was other games like
first what?
PUBG and battle royale.
Okay, there's a new concept.
Yeah. Okay. So
What's a battle royale?
so a battle royale is it's a game mode where everyone spawns on. So everyone spawns on an island in, let's just make it very basic, and it's the last person or the last people alive win, and normally the map gets smaller and smaller, and you have to fight against each other, and it's everyone against everyone.
Everyone against everyone. So is that
Yeah.
really the concept of battle royale? Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Can you
Basically.
team? Can you make
Yeah,
teams
of course.
in a battle royale?
Yeah. I mean, there's you can play with your friends, so you can play squads and duos and stuff, and then it'll just be in teams of 2 and teams of 4, and respectively. So it's kind of like the Hunger Games, sort of.
Right. Like the
You know,
film,
where
yeah.
everyone, well, film and the books, everyone is on a enclosed area, and they all fight against each other, and whoever is the last alive wins.
Right.
But
And
you
is
don't
it
get millions in this scenario. Well, yeah, if you're not a professional.
And are they really violent, these games? Let's start with Fortnite. We're talking about Fortnite now. I know there's millions of games.
Yeah.
But the one that really triggered all this was Fortnite, as far as I remember, anyway. Is it really that violent? Is it really that concerning to parents that it should be controlled and?
So in the grand scheme of things, Fortnite is not violent at all, to be honest, because if you compare it to games like Call of Duty or other games, there's no blood, there's no dead bodies. Yes, there's guns and you're shooting at people, but when someone dies, they basically turn into pixels, like they depixelate, and that's it.
Yeah.
And when they die, there's no bodies left on the floor, it's just the stuff that they had in their inventory, so the stuff that they had on them, that's left. So it's really quite,
And it's pretty cartoony, from what I remember. Fortnite is it's not super hyper realistic. It's just a bunch of
not at all,
superhero looking things, right?
And
So
especially now,
I mean,
you can play as your favorite characters. You can play as a family guy, and these different things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going really slow because you have to understand that for most people my age, especially parents that never were into gaming and aren't into gaming now, the concept of playing with your friends was literally two guys sitting in front of the TV with two joysticks and playing together with the same console, face to face.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of them thinking like, it's the concept of playing with somebody that's not even with you, or you can only hear them, you can't see them. It's got to be explained so people understand it, I reckon.
Right. Fair enough.
Right. So that was Fortnite. That was that created a sort of like a new style of gaming, right? Would you agree
Yeah,
with
I
that,
mean
or was
they definitely changed the world of gaming completely, because they were the first company that properly started the battle passes, the buying the skins, and spending money in game. Before that, it wasn't really a thing until Fortnite. Fortnite started with the battle pass, and that's when it blew up. Now every single game has their own version of the battle pass, and it's
all right? So, and explain the concept of a battle pass. What's that?
well, it's quite hard to explain if you. Well, so you buy this thing where, and normally it has 100 levels, or it has certain amounts of levels in the game, and you level up while playing the game, doing different challenges and stuff that they set, and each level will give you something. So it'll give you skins, it'll give you
rewards,
whatever, and normally you pay for it. They also have the free side, but you just get a lot less stuff and it's not that cool.
right?
And that's how.
Right, so basically it gives you access to parts of the game that you wouldn't regularly have.
No, it's not access to, you could play the game normally without it. It just gives you stuff for your characters.
More stuff, right? More
cosmetics.
More goodies. Okay, that's something I think we shouldn't even touch on that in this podcast, because I really truly think that's a podcast on its own, which is
fair enough.
The concept of in-game purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is something that is so, to a person my age, I think you remember the arguments that you and I used to have about that, is the concept of buying something that's not going to give you, that's not going to make you any better. That to me was my, I just couldn't understand it. In my time when you played a game, even Ghost Recon, even as early as, as far forward as that, when you got something and you found something in the game, it normally made you better. It was a better gun or a helmet that protected you more, or more armor, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, the concept of finding something, or even worse, buying something that just made you look cooler but didn't actually add anything to your character, I never understood it. But anyway, I think we should leave that aside, because that it really is a point of contention between parents and children, I believe. Right, so continuing. So we have online gaming, right, which is very different to our type of gaming. We have massive online multiplayer gaming, right?
Yeah.
You have
but
linear
let's just
games.
put that in the online.
Online, so it's all online.
Actually, the basic is we have online and story mode games.
Yeah. And then you have another series of games, which is the one you like playing, Valorant, and I think what's the other one, League of Legends as well, or is that different?
No, I don't like League of Legends at all.
Those are more strategic games, right? Strategy games, no, rather than shooters, no.
No, Valorant is a shooter.
I'm talking about League of Legends.
Yeah, no, League of Legends is not. I mean, I've never, like I said, I've maybe literally spent 20 minutes on it I play one game.
But is that one of the things?
It's huge.
Is that one of the ones that you control your army from above and they move this way and they move that way, or is it?
No. It's an online game as well, and you play with your team, and you only control your character and stuff. But it's top view.
Yeah, it's top view. It's not first person view.
Yeah. No.
Right. Is that what's it called? FPV.
FPS, first person shooter.
FPS. Oh damn! I thought I had my lingo down. Daddy. Right. So then Valorant is another type of game, which I remember from Ghost Recon. When Ghost Recon, you have your campaign mode, which you can play either alone, solo, or online with other people, with your troop, with your squadron. But then you have the maps that you can go into with your same squadron or whatever, with your same people, play online against other groups of people.
Yeah.
It seems to me that Valorant is only that. No.
Yeah.
So you have a lobby. You choose your friends. You have your team, who are real people somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And you team together. You jump into a map, into a pre-programmed map, and you play against others.
Yeah.
in sort of like a scrimmage type battle, right? Am I right? Or not?
It's not a scrimmage. You have an objective, but yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So
explain.
Valorant is basically it's a 5v5 game. One team will defend and the other team will attack.
All right. So it's 2 teams. It can't be more than 2 teams.
No, it's 2 teams. Well,
Okay,
this is the basic mode. Obviously, they have other game modes, but those are smaller, and the base, like the main part of the game, is this.
Okay.
One team defends, one team attacks. And the team that defends has multiple bomb sites that they have to defend. And the other team has to plant a bomb in one of these 2 sites, or 1, 2, 3 sites. And that's it. And it's the first team that gets to 13 rounds that wins. And yeah.
Okay, and in your point of view, you're an avid player of Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it so incredibly enticing that you are able to spend, if you want, 16 hours a day playing nonstop? What is so exciting about that? Because can you play one game for the whole day, or are they timed?
No, they're timed. So
they're timed, right?
Yeah, so that like I said, a long game would take 40 minutes, more or less.
Wow.
But nowadays, I don't think I could play 16 hours of just Valorant.
Right.
I think now I get too tired of it.
Right. But explain, what is the attraction of Valorant? What makes it because would you say it's your favorite game?
Yeah, right now I'd say it's my favorite game. I mean, it's a game that I've probably spent the most time on. It's the game that I've played the most. I mean, I've been playing it since it came out, so it's been 5 years now. There was a couple years where I didn't play it.
Right.
Just because I think I just needed a break of it, and I just was playing other games like Fortnite and FIFA as well.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. I just like the competitiveness of it, I think, because you have a rank, so you have a ranking, and I'm not good at all. Like, I'm not in the big scheme of things. I'm in like the medium. I'm in where most players are, so it's
average,
quite average. But I don't know. I just love it. I think it's very entertaining. There's a lot of strategy to it. There's a lot of components to it, and it's just great.
Okay. So to defend it in front of parents that think that these games don't add anything to you as a person, would you agree to that? Do you think they're just empty games where you don't really use any kind of brain power? Do you think it's
no?
Do you think those hours and hours you spent playing the game, do you think in the future you'll think they were absolutely worthless?
No, not at all. I mean, it's the same as comparing it to football.
Right.
It's like, well, you're not going to be a football player, so it's useless to play football. Like, what's the point? You're not going to get any benefits out of it. Oh,
that's a good point.
And I completely disagree, because there's a lot of teamwork involved. A lot of times, if your own team just does whatever they want, then yeah, there's going to be some games where you win, but most of the time you're not going to win, especially if you're in the higher levels. And there's a lot of shit going on in the game. There's a lot of stuff they have to really know what's going on and what's happening. And yeah, I don't think it's useless at all. And obviously, it's at the end of the day, I'm playing it for fun. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not playing it to get smart or anything like that. I'm just playing it to have fun. It's the same as watching a series or playing football with your friends. You're doing it at the end of the day just to have fun. You're not.
Yeah. Have you going on? You just mentioned teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact that in your case, a lot of the people you play with are people that are close to you, at least while you're in Spain, and you might meet up with them weekends, right? But have you actually made any friends that you still haven't made playing Valorant or playing any of these games?
Like online friends, you mean? Yeah,
because you play with people from all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Are there people that keep on cropping up in your games that you're like, oh, there you are. This is Francois from the Maldives.
No,
How you doing, Francois? No.
No, because there's a lot of people that play, so it's quite hard to get into the same game. What has happened is I've played one game, and the next game I'm playing against or playing with some of the same people from the last game.
Right. Okay.
That has happened quite a couple times.
But not generally. Right.
No, not generally.
Well, but I say because...
Go. I don't know what you're going to say.
When I used to play Ghost Recon, and we used to play the online version, and this is probably because Ghost Recon is a much less popular game. In fact, I don't think it's very popular at all. So the people that play it online is probably quite limited. But that used to happen. You'd be playing 1 week, and you'd be playing against people, and then eventually you got used to seeing their tag names, and you realize that they were that they kept on repeating themselves. So. And then the guy insulting you in your ear was the same guy that insulted you last week.
Yeah. No, I think that's also because when you guys played, you played when it wasn't as popular anymore. So that's probably why.
It's true. Yeah, and I have to say that the age group of people that played Ghost Recon was closer to my age group than yours. and believe me, I've seen you play. I've seen you get excited, but I've always seen that there's always an etiquette, a respect between you players that didn't exist in Ghost Recon. Let me tell you, man, there were some ruthless guys out there insulting the crap out of you, not really caring whether you're a 12-year-old kid or a 53-year-old man.
Yeah,
they would treat you like a...
There's a saying there's that in every single game. I mean, I get some people in my games where I'm like, dude, you are just one stupid guy.
Like, what do you do in those situations? What do you do if you're being harassed by a player, or if they're not, if they're insulting you, or because you're saying that does happen, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Now, what do you do? Can you just block the guy out, or leave the game, or kick him out, or?
Most of the time, honestly, I just mute them and then I report them, and that's it.
So you can report them, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I think that's important for parents to know, that you're not 100% open to online abuse when you're playing these games. You can defend yourself, right? And not necessarily with the same weapons.
Of course. I mean, obviously, if you want, you could always respond back, but I don't.
Right.
Sometimes I respond, but sometimes I'm like, dude, this is
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Most of the time I don't respond. Most of the time I just mute them and then I continue, or I just ignore them, because at the end of the day, those things don't really affect me, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I don't really care. So, but yeah.
And moving on a little bit to other questions I have, which is we're talking about the huge popularity of these games, to the extent that you keep on telling us that you're not going out one day because you're watching a tournament. This is also something, a concept that I found hard to come to terms with, along with the in-game purchasing, was the concept of you sitting there watching other people play a game that you're not playing yourself at that moment. I always assume that if you're gonna play a video game, you're gonna play it. You're not gonna watch it just for the sake of it. But it's huge. It's a huge thing. That's what you do, right? You have huge worldwide tournaments where there's a huge amount of money invested in proper teams. So explain a little bit of that. How's that going? How's that? How can you defend that in front of a parent? Say, you can't. It just happens.
No. You watch football.
Yeah.
Why are you watching it instead of playing it?
Right. So this comes.
Because the person will say, well, they're the best in the world. I can't even compare myself to how they play. It's exactly the same thing. These guys they're on another level of just of what I can do in the game. So it's exactly the same concept of watching a game, watching a sport instead of playing it. It's the same concept. It's just not as widespread and not seen as as normal yet.
Yeah. Well, I think it's starting to. Is this what's commonly known as eSports?
Yeah.
Or is that
Yeah.
so something like Valorant and Fortnite, playing it huge in huge arenas in front of people? That's eSports, or is eSports limited only to sports, football? And
No. eSports is Valorant and Fortnite and any game that has its own eSports generally.
And you have your stars, you have your best players, you have your best in the world, best teams in the world.
Exactly.
In last week's podcast, you were wearing an eSports T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Similar to the one you're wearing now, is a football T-shirt. Last week was a. Don't show me that, please. Please don't show me that.
Sure, you don't like football.
For anybody that really cares about football or really cares about any of this, my son is a fan of Barcelona. I grew up in Madrid, and so I was born and raised a fan of Madrid. I don't follow football. I don't particularly like football, but Madrid is the best team in the world. And I have to sit here and watch my son wear that horrible blue and that horrible shade of red practically daily.
It's a lovely T-shirt.
Puts me to shame. And even worse, you have this horrible golden Spotify T-shirt. Also, that's from that team, isn't it? Anyway, moving on.
It's very cool. I say it because he told me that he thinks it's very cool, but he's just doing it to piss me off.
And I manage, you do get pissed off. That's crazy.
Why? It's because you'll come after like a terrible loss and you'll be like, how did it go? With a big grin, and I'm like, oh, just shut up, man.
I know, I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on from real sports to esports. Well, I can tell you, in the world of education, esports is a huge thing. And
really?
And every time I go to BET in London, BET is the British
you told me.
Educational technology ed tech, a huge fair that they have in London. They have huge stands dedicated to esports. And the reason for that is because they really do promote the idea of teamwork, of strategy, learning how to use your brain to be able to reach a certain objective, not on your own, but using technology and using the game that you're playing. Tactical games. There's a lot of racing going on. And that's a reason why it's part of education. Same as the Meta glasses. You were talking last week about the Meta, what it's called, the augmented reality. That's not just for gaming. Part of the games that you play, in fact, is the idea of gamifying education comes from the fact that it really does help. With everything, with your senses, with your motor skills, with teamwork, with being able to plan strategy, all that comes into play. And somebody somewhere knows that it's a way to bring everybody into the world of education, and it really does work. It's expensive, so not many schools have it, but it does work because it's attractive to you guys, right?
And it's something we're familiar with as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's definitely a far step removed from, and this is why I like modern gaming. It's very far removed from the games that we used to have back in the 90s, which were standalone games. You didn't play with anybody. You played on your own. If you were lucky, you could have somebody next to you playing against you. And those games really, really were self-absorbing games. They didn't really bring much into the equation because mostly they were action games. And you obviously always did have strategy games, but the most exciting ones, because of the way graphics were evolving, the most exciting ones always tended to be shooters or racers or things like that, and a lot of them were quite violent, but they didn't really bring much apart from the being in game. I can't see it. I've never really understood the arguments that the two sides are having. They're just two different sides, and each one has their own benefits and their own drawbacks. And I think if you do both, you're good. You just got to make sure you do both.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just like everything. Everything
Yeah. Yeah.
has to be within limits. You know, if you do too much of anything, it's bad for you. So,
Exactly. And you see, there I am, rambling again. I promised I'd let you speak, and here I am. All right.
I think I've spoken quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think that answers a lot of questions that a lot of parents may have regarding gaming.
Yeah, and also the thing is I'm going to talk about Spain mostly, is the world of gaming and the world of esports, especially in Spain, is quite far back in time compared to the rest of the world.
Okay.
I'm talking more about esports. I mean, esports, like if you go to Korea and Japan, esports there is generally it's the same level as football and basketball in Spain. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, the amount of fans they have, the amount of money spent in
the amount of fans, the amount of money, the amount of just everything. Like there's this one team in CS:GO which is a game similar to Valorant. Valorant is basically based off of it. They have a team. There's a team. It's quite a good team. And it's from Mongolia.
Oh.
And they actually get money from the government to continue running. And I mean,
right.
Everybody there is they're huge fans of the everybody in Mongolia, of course, are huge fans of this team, and everyone follows them. And even in Brazil, I remember hearing that I don't know if they still do it, they probably still do, but they used to show esports games in CS:GO on TV. Like it would have its own TV channel.
Okay. And why do you think they're so big in those countries and not so much over here?
I don't know. I think it just seems it's seen still as a waste of time. It's still seen as something for kids, something that if you want to do something with your life, it's not. You're just wasting your time, and it's still seen as something bad, you know?
Right. Okay. So can you earn a living by gaming? Is it something that's feasible for your average guy?
I mean, you can earn a living, but you have to be the best of the best, you know?
Right.
It's not at the point like in football where the top are earning millions, and they're earning like crazy amounts of money. There's people that are earning still crazy amounts of money, but it's just like, it's not football level, obviously, or basketball level. It's
right,
they make a living, and they're quite well off. But obviously, you just have to be the best of the best, you know.
But they're a huge minority compared to the amount of people that actually play the games. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like football, you know, like the best of the best are.
But you don't have to be a player necessarily, even to be able to earn a living out of esports, right? You can be. I've seen you watch people commentating, right? So there's famous commentators that will. So basically, the way I see it here from far away, when I walk into your room and you're watching a tournament, you don't necessarily sit there watching the tournament live. You normally watch it through somebody's channel, right? And then that person is commentating on it. Am I right? So then that person is earning a living through the commentating of that, and maybe their sponsorships and things like that, right? So you don't actually have to be a gamer.
Well, that side comes more of the influencer side and the streaming, because I'm watching them like they're streamers, you know, and I'm watching them from that. So that's not more on the gaming side. There are this guy in particular that you're mentioning. He's Mixwell. If you're in the world of game, you know who he is. If you don't, then you will be like, who the hell is that?
Mixwell.
Mixwell, yeah.
Is that the guy you met in Madrid?
No.
In Mad Cool?
No, that's not him. That's not him. Okay. And this guy, he's probably one of the most famous Spanish esports players that there ever was. And he's just a streamer, and he's retired now from esports. But anyways,
how old is he?
I think like 30, maybe 29, 30, 31, around there.
He's retired, yeah. Good for him.
Well, from the world of esports.
Right.
And there's coaches in these games, there's staff, there's the commentators that say what's on the game. You know, it's like any other sport. There's like in basketball and football, like I say. I mean,
Yeah, so there's a huge business that's been developed around the fact of somebody sitting there in a chair watching a screen. Okay, so let's talk about mental health, because obviously we've touched upon it. All this is related to all that. Do you think there's a real, you know, the concerns around mental health and gaming? Do you think there's a real concern there? There's something there, or not?
What do you mean?
Well, do you think parents worry about their children's mental health when they spend so much time playing games and watching people play games? Do you think there's any truth to that? Do you think it can be detriment to your mental health if you do that? If there's to your well-being and your wellness and.
I mean, I don't see why it would be, to be honest. Obviously, unless you're getting like bullied online, then then yeah, I could see a problem with that. But I don't. I mean, it's like anything, you know what I mean? I don't see. Like, are you talking more in the scenario of that it makes you go crazy and you'll become violent and stuff, or?
Well, ultimately, that's what seems to be the word out there, that these games are that spending so much screen time, so much time playing, so much time isolated from the real world, and so much time lost in a fantasy world that isn't real, is not doing you any good at all. Do you think there's any truth to that? Do you think? Well, let me rephrase the question. Have you ever felt any kind of discomfort in your own self because of this? Have you ever found yourself having weird thoughts, or you know, biting your nails more than often or more than not, or being fidgety because you're just... I mean, I personally haven't seen it, but of course I'm not you.
No, I don't. Obviously there are, like, it's like I say, if you play games too much, there's obviously the health side, just because you're not being active as much, and obviously that is, but those are extreme cases. I don't think there's anything wrong. The cases that this does happen, I mean, I don't think they're singular cases, you know, kind of like when the Columbine shooting happened and the people that did the shooting, the 2 students, listened to Marilyn Manson, and everybody was like, don't listen to Marilyn Manson because it'll make you want to shoot up a school. And it's like, well, like, no. You know what I mean? Those guys would have done it anyways, even if they didn't listen to Marilyn Manson. Yeah. You know?
I love Marilyn Manson, and I work in a school.
But you see what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. Have you ever met anybody that has been affected by any of this? A friend that maybe used to be a certain way and suddenly changed characters, or maybe subtly changed a little bit because of the amount of gaming they were doing, or the amount of screen time they were...
I just... No. Thing is, I don't get where this comes from, obviously, you know? Like, if you think about it realistically, obviously it comes from a place of not knowing, of no knowledge, you know? But it's kind of like, if this happens to you when you're playing Call of Duty, you know what I mean, for hours and hours, it's the same thing would happen if you're watching hours and hours of war movies, or watching hours and hours of reading hours and hours of war books, you know. It's the same thing. At the end of the day, it's a fantasy world where it's not real, and you're seeing, or you're reading, or imagining people getting killed and killing, you know. So I don't see any difference as that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I know that there's a reason why true crime documentaries are so incredibly popular now in streaming services like Netflix. Is that because people like watching that kind of stuff? Is it healthy? I don't know. I've read a couple of articles saying that in fact, just the other day I was reading an article that some psychologist saying that there's something wrong with you if the last thing you do before going to bed to relax is watch a true crime documentary, or one of these, like this series, the Monster series from, you know, the 8 Gein and the that are popular now. Apparently, if that's what you do to relax, there's something wrong with you. That's what I do to relax. I love those. I love those things. So there might be something wrong with me. Right. I tend personally. Again, this is a controversial thing for me because I'm an older person. I tend to agree with you. I think there's nothing wrong with the way it's done. I think the issue is always educating the person that's doing it to do it properly. And that's not up to the person that's doing it, which is normally somebody that's too young to know. It's up to the parent to educate them. Yeah. For a parent to be able to educate their child in the ways of proper gaming and proper use of internet, of online, anything that has to do with new technologies, that parent has to take the time to understand what it is they're fighting against. And the issue here is that most parents don't take the time to do that.
Oh,
because
course.
It's a world that's moved way too fast for our own good. We don't understand it, and because we don't understand it, we've turned it into the enemy. I'm not saying that it's a perfectly healthy environment. Like you say, extremes are always bad for any kind of thing. Drinking too much water, as healthy as it is, if you drink too much water, you're gonna die. If you play too much the wrong way, something's gonna happen in the form of abuse, bullying, whatever it is. But I think normally most people are generally okay. I think us adults have taken those extreme isolated cases and put them on display as if it was a normal. And I don't think it is. It is. I've seen you play. I've seen your friends play. I see students talk about this at school all the time. And I don't really see any unhealthy children whose minds have been warped by the amount of gaming they do. If it does happen, it's because there's some sort of other factors that are adding to it. If you do it safely and you do it with care and knowing what you're doing, I think you're perfectly all right. Well, I have to thank you for everything because there's, as I've seen you game since you were a kid. But even I had a few things that weren't clear in my mind about the new way of, the new way of gaming, this online multiplayer, battle royales. I think it's a good eye opener. This is a good starting point for any parent that wants to understand these things. I don't think this was the intention of the podcast. No, the podcast was intended to be old gaming versus new gaming. But
we kind of deviated from that, which is fine. I mean, it's good. It's good.
It was also my way of making sure that you spoke a lot, because otherwise I'd be the one doing all the talking like last week. It was fun. It was so funny.
No, you go.
I was just going to say that I was editing last week's episode, or the one that's actually coming out live now, probably. And I was cracking up because I just do not let you speak, man. you asked me the right questions to get me excited about whatever it is I'm talking, and I just do not let you speak. It's crazy. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's the whole point, isn't it? Is that I'm the host, so I ask you questions. Obviously, you ask me questions, so most of the time, I think you take it out of proportion a bit, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, anything else? Tell me more.
No, I was going to say, I just have one. I think should do this last question, and I think we're done, because I think we've been doing this for quite a while now.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of did it just now, but if you could give parents any advice about gaming, to do with their kids, obviously, what would it be?
Take the time to understand what it is your child is doing before passing any kind of judgment. Really understand what it is that your child is so interested in.
Okay.
And I think that applies to anything pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. Sounds like a good piece of solid advice, to be honest. Good job.
All right.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. I think it was a very good episode. Quite different from where I thought it was going to go. But, to be honest, most of these end up being like that. And that's what's so fun about this. True. And, I don't think this will be the first or the last episode about gaming. Well, it is a first, but it won't be the last.
It won't be the
episode
last
about
for
gaming.
sure. For
Because
sure.
we've been talking for, I don't even know how long we've been talking for, but like probably good over an hour now.
I have no idea.
And we've just literally scratched the surface. We've mentioned eSports, we've mentioned my favorite games, your favorite games.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good way to open up to other
all
episodes.
avenues, all sorts of avenues. We have all the time in the world before you get married and have kids, and you stop having the time to do this.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching yet another episode. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and if you agree or disagree with anything, let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for listening to us, and thank you very much to my dad for being here, like always. And
thank you for having me and for talking to me. I feel privileged and very, very lucky.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Is there anything you want to say before we go? Anything else you want to add?
Nothing at all. Just a big goodbye, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys next week, and it'll be in person this time. So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.